Jaime Escalante arrives at Garfield High School, a struggling school in a low-income neighborhood of Los Angeles. The school is known for poor academic performance and constant discipline problems. When he first arrives, he is welcomed by Raquel, the head of the math department. Jaime actually graduated in computer science and was supposed to teach computers here. But the school has no funds to buy equipment, so instead, he is assigned to teach math. When Jaime walks into his classroom for the first time, he is met with chaos and disrespect. The students talk over him, ignore him, and treat him like someone who doesn't matter. Some of them even struggle with English, which makes the environment even more difficult. Within minutes of starting the lesson, a bell rings and all the students rush out. Jaime soon learns it was a fake bell prank set up by troublemakers to disrupt the school day. The principal, Mr. Molina, eventually forces everyone back to class. At the end of that rough first day, Jaime finds his car window shattered and his radio stolen. And from here, everything changes. This is Stand and Deliver. When Jaime gets home, we learn his name outside school is Joe. His wife, Fabiola, and their children ask why he left his previous job, and he explains that teaching is what he truly wants to do. One day, Jaime walks into class dressed like a chef. He has an apron, a chef's hat, even a kitchen knife and ingredients. He starts cutting apples in front of the students, using the pieces to explain fractions. His unusual approach grabs their attention. The room that once ignored him suddenly watches closely. His methods are strange, but they work. In the middle of teaching, two students walk in late. Their names are Chuco and Guzman. They bring nothing, not even notebooks, and one of them gives Jaime the middle finger right in front of everyone. Instead of reacting with anger, Jaime calmly turns the moment into a lesson, showing them a multiplication trick using fingers. After class, Chuco and Guzman confront him. They warn him not to get involved in their lives. They say they do not care if they fail. Later that day, Jaime witnesses a fight involving Chuco's group. When Guzman joins in, Jaime steps in and stops it before it gets worse. Back inside the classroom, Jaime continues teaching the basics of algebra, starting with simple positive and negative numbers. Despite Chuco and Guzman trying to disrupt the class, he refuses to lose control. He knows they have potential even if they do not see it. At one point, he insists Guzman answer a basic question, forcing him to participate. As the lessons continued, Jaime started teaching multiplication. To his surprise, even the students who first refused to participate, including Chuco and Guzman, slowly began paying attention. The room that once dismissed him was now quietly following along.
Come on, you know the answer. You can do it. Fill the hole.
Minus 2 plus 2 equals 0.
You're right. Simple. That's it. A negative times a negative equals a positive. Negative times a negative equals a positive.
After class, Jaime headed to a staff meeting. The mood was tense. The principal explained that Garfield High was on the brink of losing its accreditation. Academic scores were dropping, teachers were quitting, and resources were shrinking. One teacher even announced that she would not be returning after Christmas because she already found a better job. On top of that, most students were performing at a middle school level. It felt hopeless. But Jaime believed otherwise. He confidently said he could raise the students' performance. All he needed was their willingness to learn. Back in the classroom, he gave a quiz to measure their understanding. Just as they were about to start, Chuco convinced Guzman to ditch. Guzman actually wanted to stay, but he left anyway to keep his loyalty to his friend. The empty seat was quickly taken by a new student who had just been assigned to Jaime's class. Later, Guzman returned and confessed he regretted walking out. He asked Jaime for help and explained that he could not carry books around because of his environment. He asked for 3 copies, one for the classroom, one for home, and one to hide in his locker. Jaime saw that despite the attitude, the desire to learn was there. Meanwhile, a small group of students, including Frank, Claudia, Lupe, and Tito, discussed the school's accreditation crisis. Instead of worrying about it, they decided to rebel by refusing to take the upcoming quiz seriously. The next day, during class, they sat still and refused to even open the test. Jaime approached Lupe first. She acted bold, clearly wanting attention. So Jaime gave her exactly that by placing her seat front and center. That shift changed the mood. Frank and Tito gave in and started working on the quiz. Lupe, now embarrassed and frustrated, ended up getting assigned mandatory after-school hours as a consequence. Outside of school, the students' lives revealed why learning was often the last thing on their minds. Guzman lived with his grandmother and was actually a kind kid who wanted a better future, but he was heavily influenced by Chuco and the street life around him. Lupe lived with her family. Her father worked double shifts and her mother worked late, leaving her responsible for her younger siblings. The next morning, Guzman showed up to class again, this time hungover. Jaime assigned more after school hours, but when Guzman realized he forgot a pencil, something unexpected happened. Ana, the top student in the class, silently handed him one. It was her last day at school before leaving, yet she still chose kindness. That night, Jaime and his wife Fabiola went out to eat at a small restaurant. It turned out the place belonged to Ana's parents, and Ana was working there to help her family. Jaime introduced himself as her teacher and tried to explain how important her education was. He believed Ana could become the first in her family to graduate and go to college. She was the brightest student in his class and had dreams of becoming a doctor. But her father didn't see the point. In his mind, school was a waste of time if she would end up working in the restaurant anyway. Instead of hearing encouragement, he took Jaime's words as an insult.
Why don't you put on an apron and give us a hand? Your husband comes into my restaurant, eats, then he insults me. I don't want your money. I don't need your business.
The next day at school, Jaime's class was being observed by Raquel and Principal Molina. He taught algebra using examples from everyday life, but no one could get the answer right. Then Ana suddenly appeared at the classroom door and solved the problem effortlessly. Jaime was thrilled to see her back, and even Molina seemed impressed with his teaching approach. Later, Jaime took his class on a field trip to the computer company where he used to work. What surprised him most was how fascinated the students became with calculus, a subject far beyond their grade level. After that trip, he announced during a staff meeting that he wanted to teach calculus the next semester. The room reacted with disbelief. The idea sounded impossible. Raquel openly opposed the plan, and the rest of the teachers thought he was dreaming. But Jaime refused to lower his expectations, and despite the pushback, summer school began. In the blazing heat, inside a room with no air conditioning, the students sat together learning one of the most challenging subjects in mathematics. Jaime pushed them, encouraged them, and refused to let them quit. When the new semester finally started, chaos returned. Some students threw chairs to scare teachers away, but thankfully no one was hurt. The troublemakers slipped away before anyone could catch them. Once things settled, Jaime introduced a learning contract. It required students to stay longer at school and attend classes on Saturdays. If they succeeded, they could earn college credit. At first, most of them rejected the idea, but one by one, every contract came back signed except Frank's. He planned to work at a factory on Saturdays. In 2 years, he believed he would make more money than Jaime did. So Jaime decided to show him another perspective. He took Frank on a drive and explained that quick money might feel tempting, but education would open doors that money alone couldn't. Frank slowly understood the message and eventually joined the Saturday class. From that point forward, while other students enjoyed their weekends, Jaime's class spent theirs studying calculus. As the lessons grew more advanced, the pressure also increased. One day, Jaime asked Frank to solve a problem in front of the class. Frank froze. He couldn't remember the steps, and frustration took over. He reminded Jaime that he was the weakest student in the room, and deep down, Jaime already knew that. Meanwhile, Guzman was running late because he had taken his grandmother to the hospital. When he finally arrived, Jaime sent him out of the classroom before he had the chance to explain. It wasn't the first time Guzman was late, and Jaime thought it was just another excuse. Hurt and embarrassed, Guzman left feeling angry.
Pancho, I think that guy's got a bigger problem than you. So, simple.
On Christmas Eve, things took an unexpected turn. Jaime was finally home resting, and Fabiola complained that he worked even during holidays. Then the doorbell rang. It was Guzman and his grandmother. She explained everything, including why he had been late. Guzman wasn't trying to skip class. He was trying to manage responsibility and education at the same time because he truly believed calculus could change his future. Later, as the class practiced even harder material, something strange happened. Every student solved the same problem and got the same answer. But the answer was wrong. Jaime was furious. This was work they had mastered before, yet somehow they all made the same mistake. That night, Jaime spent his time volunteering, teaching English to parents in the community. Halfway through the session, he felt a sharp pain in his chest and collapsed. News spread quickly. Principal Molina told the students that Jaime had suffered a mild heart attack and would need time to recover. A substitute teacher was assigned, but he taught music, not calculus. The students decided to continue studying on their own. Even from the hospital, Jaime refused to slow down. He wrote new practice problems and asked a nurse to deliver them to the school. Then, in a moment that shocked everyone, he walked back into the classroom before fully recovering. Instead of resting, he tested their understanding one by one.
You guys are the best. Y equal to ln domain.
X is greater than -1.
No, to the end of the line of the domain.
All real numbers greater than 1, X is greater than 1.
I told you could do it. Okay, Kamasaki.
Months passed, filled with long hours and endless practice. Finally, the day of the official calculus exam arrived. The students sat under the watchful eyes of testing officials from the education department. When it was over, they celebrated by swimming at the beach, relieved to have survived the challenge. Days later, while fixing a car, Frank noticed the mailman dropping off an envelope. It was his test result. He passed. One by one, more letters arrived. Every student in Jaime's class passed. Out of all high schools in California taking this advanced exam, less than 2% passed. Yet Garfield High had the largest group of passing students, a record-breaking achievement. All 18 students received perfect scores. In gratitude, they presented Jaime with a plaque to honor his dedication. His unconventional methods were finally recognized, even by Raquel, who once doubted him. But just when everything seemed perfect, the story took a sharp turn. One day, Lupe received a shocking phone call. Every student in Jaime's calculus class had been accused of cheating. The education board claimed something suspicious happened because many of them missed the exact same question in the exact same way. They questioned whether Garfield High deserved the scores it received and launched a formal investigation. 2 officials, Ramirez and Parson, were sent to the school. Their job was to find out whether the test had been leaked. They questioned the students one by one, trying to get someone to admit wrongdoing. But no one broke. Anna, standing firm, told them nothing happened and no one cheated. Frustrated, the investigators left, convinced the students were hiding the truth. Soon after, Raquel pulled Jaime aside and told him that because of the controversy, he should consider resigning. Jaime was stunned. He couldn't believe she thought his students cheated. She claimed he had pushed them too hard. In her eyes, they might have been willing to do anything to make him proud. Feeling defeated, Jaime walked outside only to find his car missing. He had no choice but to walk home. That night, he questioned everything. Maybe he had made a mistake teaching them calculus. Maybe expecting greatness was too much. But his doubt didn't last long. Guzman soon arrived at his house, shouting from outside. He wasn't there to cause trouble. He brought Jaime's car back. He had taken it to get it repaired so Jaime could go downtown and fight for them. The next day, Jaime went straight to the Department of Education to confront the investigators. He demanded an explanation, but they refused to discuss the case. They wouldn't even let him see the exam papers. Parson only revealed one thing. None of Jaime's students missed more than 4 questions on the multiple choice section. That level of consistency had never been seen at a school like Garfield. With no other choice, Jaime made a bold decision. The students would retake the entire exam. They had only one day to review everything. He warned them that the next test would be harder, and they would need to come with nothing in their pockets to avoid any doubts. That night, instead of resting, Jaime invited several students to his home to study while they shared a meal. No one complained. They were determined to prove everyone wrong. The next morning, the retest began under the direct supervision of Ramirez and Parson. The questions were tougher, but the students stayed focused. Their months of practice kicked in. They worked slowly, carefully, and confidently. Anna didn't finish the test because she had a scholarship interview at the University of California, but everyone else used every minute they had. After the exam, Jaime waited anxiously alongside the principal, hoping for good news. Days later, the results finally arrived. A passing score was 3. A perfect score was 5. To everyone's disbelief, all 18 students passed again. From that moment, everything changed. In 1982, 18 students passed calculus at Garfield High. In 1983, the number grew to 31. The following year, 63. By 1985, 77 students passed. Each year, the number climbed higher. People across the country were stunned. One teacher had changed the future of an entire school. So the moral of the story is sometimes all people need is someone who refuses to give up on them.